Welcome to another edition of the Mizzou Minute. I'm Tod Palmer, beat writer for the Kansas City Star, and we are here for a post-game edition from Jonesboro, Arkansas, where Missouri defeated Arkansas State 27-20 tonight, coming back from a one-touchdown deficit at halftime behind Maddie Mock and a defense that was just lights out. And we're going to get to talking a little bit more about that defense, but we're going to start with the run game. And there's some big issues for Missouri. It's not just that the run game struggled again tonight. The final numbers look okay because Maddie Mock had 10 carries for 75 yards, but the reality is Missouri didn't get anything going, especially in the first half when they could have used a run game to kind of build some momentum and maybe even build a lead against Arkansas State. Russell Hansbrough, who had the sprained ankle and was questionable, gave it a go. He had 5 carries for 15 yards. He had 4 of those carries for 12 yards in the first quarter, sat out the second quarter, presumably because the ankle was still an issue. Came back for 1 run on the first play of the third quarter, and that was it. He was shut down. Now, maybe it was precautionary again. Maybe he's going to be closer, and maybe he can be 100% healthy by UConn or at least Kentucky. But it's alarming that Russell Hansbrough hasn't been able to go more than 5 carries in any game. He's got 7 carries in the first 2 games for Missouri. That's a concern, especially because Ish Witter, who had 44 yards on 10 carries and struggled at times again, much as he did against Southeast Missouri, got dinged, according to Gary Pinkel. And so now his health is in question. Tyler Hunt was already dealing with the groin injury. Morgan Stewart is still coming back from the hip injury. Trevon Walters is still out after having surgery to repair a torn ACL in the spring. So Missouri's in a dire circumstance. They might have to pull a red shirt off a guy like a Marquise Doherty for the Connecticut game if there's not enough guys that are healthy. Either that or they're going to risk running Maddie Mock into the ground. Fortunately for Missouri, they didn't need a whole lot from the offense tonight because the defense continues to be absolutely exceptional. They gave up 180 yards in the first half. It wasn't great. They were put in some really bad positions by the offense, particularly a couple interceptions by Maddie Mock and then by Drew Lock, who threw an interception on his only play of the game. So the defense, they're down 17-10 at halftime, but man, did they play lights out in the second half. They only gave up 37 yards on 29 plays. They only gave up 217 yards for the game. They had 15 tackles for a loss on 75 snaps. And that's just incredible. Every 5 times the Arkansas State offense ran a play, Missouri got a tackle for a loss. That's just ridiculous. Kentrell Brothers was a monster again, 16 tackles. He had 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter, 1 that set up a field goal to give him some breathing room, and 1 to ice it with 1:17 to go when Arkansas State had no timeouts remaining. So just really an astounding performance by the defense. The only points they gave up in the second half were on Maddie's second interception, which set up a short field, but the defense was able to limit the damage to a field goal there. So all good things. Michael Shear with the 10 tackles, and then you talk about Charles Harris, who had 6 tackles, including 4.5 for a loss, which is ridiculous. And he also had 2 sacks tonight. So we're kind of seeing a coming out party of sorts for Charles Harris tonight. I mean, the signs are excellent. Anthony Sherrills even had a great game in his second start at strong safety there. So lots of positives. But you've got to be concerned about that offense, and that's the consistency is the issue. And that's the third takeaway. The disappointing thing, I think, with this offense right now, obviously the run game's not great. The passing game was only so-so today. But you've got guys having breakdowns in protection. Even guys like Connor McGovern, who you thought were going to be some of your workhorse guys that were going to carry you this season, are getting beat, on swim moves. They're getting beat inside. There's no help from the left guard. It was really, the blocking was a train wreck. Maddie was running for his life far too often. And then on top of that, you have receivers dropping the football. There's a lot of areas that Missouri needs to get better. It almost cost them a game tonight. They were able to get through it. But once they move into SEC play, if they don't clean some of these things up, it could be an issue. Be sure to check out kansascity.com all week for updates and to read about tonight's game. And as do we get ready for the Connecticut game next week at 11 a.m. from Memorial Stadium. Thanks for watching. I'm Tod Palmer.